Thank you all for coming to the 2020. Thank you all for coming to the 2020 Boys Soccer Awards recognition ceremony. As everybody knows, it's been a crazy year, and I think everybody in the room are probably surprised we got this far along with the season before anything happened, got shut down, and so forth. So, thanks for the patience. Thanks for the hard work. I'm just going to thank a couple people who get out of the way and let Darren and them take over. I would like to thank the coaches for all their time and their effort, their commitment to the boys and the team. This shows. So thanks Darren, Jim, Matt, Caleb. I also like to thank Sarah for taking care of the boys all year. She really stepped up and kept them going. Also I'd like to thank the coaches' families that kind of don't get thanked sometimes and are forgot about. Cindy and Courtney, Kathy, Tori. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing they're out of the house, but you know, it's going to change, I guess, tomorrow. So, I'd like to thank the school administration. Mr. Green helped us out in the beginning because we didn't know what we were doing with fundraising forms and so forth, and was patient and showed us how to do that. We appreciate it. And Mr. Nanicola helped us and guided us along the way as we had questions and so forth, so we appreciate that. I'd also like to thank the boosters who was on the board, Natalie Branch, Jamie Armstrong, Tara Beatty, Melanie Phelps. You guys put in a lot of work that doesn't get seen, and we appreciate it, and it shows also all the commitment and the volunteering you guys do, all the time you put in. Thank you. There's a couple other people that helped out. Went above and beyond. Chuck Ranch was doing the announcing all year, every game. Did a great job. Everyone missing. I think you already got somebody lined up. Chris Cecil's going to take over. Get back out now. He's locked in now. So we'll see how that goes. We might have a staff change after the first game.
I don't think I can get a yellow card for you doing the whoops, so I think we're all right with it.
We'll just close the window. I want to thank Brandon Flower for doing the time all year. Great job. Jamie and Heather Armstrong for the videos upload and getting the YouTube page set up. That was great this year since a lot of people couldn't go to the games, grandparents and families and so forth. And it really helped out a lot, and I think it was very enjoyable. And hopefully something we can continue to do in case somebody misses a game. The players, I think, like to look back and watch the games. So that was great. The last thing I have is I'd like to thank the parents. All the parents. I think we had almost 100%, if not 100% cooperation and volunteerism all year. Starting out with the fundraising, with selling the tickets, doing the gates, the donations for states. I mean, I have a whole box of stuff over here. And we came back with probably 3 boxes of stuff. We sent them so much food that they couldn't eat it all. So please, on your way out, grab what you like, what you gave, what your kid will eat, and take it so it doesn't go to waste. So I would like to thank that. This is all the volunteers, everybody stepped up and did their part, and all the people that volunteered for the states, all the donations, the monetary donations, it just exceeded our expectations, and it helped out a lot. Because, you know, as you know, sending both teams is pretty expensive to the states. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to let Darren and the coach take over. Thank you.
Thanks for everybody coming. Unfortunately this morning, I know the boys are probably happy about this. I woke up this morning, I had laryngitis. I don't know why. Because even the coaches told me I didn't yell very much this weekend. But I'm just going to say, with everything we've gone through over the last 8 months, we're very blessed. And the fact that all of you players, we did things the right way, so we were able to play. We played the most games in the state of anybody, 22 games this year. And the fact that we were able to win another state title, thanks to these young men and your guys' support. I'd like to start off by giving them a clap. I have received about 100 texts, emails about how well and how many people are envious of this program and the way that we run things and the way these guys perform on the field. The fact that we went through what I think is the most difficult region and one of the most difficult paths to win the state title with a target on our back for the entire season shows the resiliency that these guys, showed and performed on. But we'll get more into the season. First thing I'd like to do, kind of like Derek did, I'd like to do a lot of thanking, because without all these individuals, that none of this would be possible. Coaching staff. I have the best coaching staff in the state. Number one, I have my mentor and the gentleman who started this program and is continuing to give of his time, Coach Donardi. Two former players that have come back and contributed to this program, not only at the junior varsity level, but the varsity level. They're both head coach candidates. They could go anywhere and coach at a state level because of the experience that they bring on the field and off the field. Matt Branch and Caleb Kingston. We have the best trainer in the state, period. Without her, without her, the Branch twins don't play because she's every day. And she, where other trainers would say, well, nope, they're off the field, we'll have to go through this laundry list of things. First thing Sarah always came to us and said is, let's see what their condition is and let's see how we can get them back on the field as quickly as possible, but also safely. So, Sarah Nance. Mr. Green, the administration, appreciate you being here today. You guys have been very supportive of us through the entire season and over the years I've been associated with this program. And you guys have always done anything that we needed and went above and beyond to reach out to us and ask us what we need and make our jobs very easy. So I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Boosters, you guys do a tremendous job. We are 100% self-sufficient, and the fact that you work with the parents to make sure that we have what we need, whether it's uniforms, equipment, meals for the road, anything, you guys go above and beyond, and we truly thank you and appreciate all your support that you've helped out this year. Two other individuals that really helped me out is the voice of the Polar Bears, Chuck Branch, done a great job all year, even through technical difficulties. He would ad-lib and do a great job. You have huge shoes to fill, but I'm sure you'll do a great job. Chuck Branch, thank you. Brandon Flower was our scorekeeper, did a great job. Was always, coming to me, making sure everything was in line. And I appreciate your support. Also, just off the field, text messages, helping me through some things, when we had discussions. So I really thank you for all of that. One other individual who helped me out a lot this year, even started last year, we would text back and forth and just, words of encouragement, making sure, if I ever had some doubts about where we were going, we would always converse throughout the season. Jamie Armstrong, I thank you so much. Last but certainly not least, Derek touched upon this, but all of our significant others allow us to do this. You know, like Derek said, they probably like the free time away, but you know, they give about as much as we do throughout the season to make sure that, you know, we have the freedom and the time that we can donate to the players and make sure everything goes well. So Cindy, Courtney, Kathy, Tori, we thank you all for letting us do what we do. All right, I'm now going to turn it over to the JV coaches. We're going to talk a little bit about our JV season, and then we'll jump into the varsity season. So, Matt, Caleb.
So, like Darren, I also woke up with a little bit of laryngitis. Not real sure why. I was also pretty quiet. First and foremost, though, I do want to thank a couple people. First, obviously, significant others, my wife, Darren's wife, Jim's wife, Caleb's fiance. Thank you guys so much. Putting up with us. I know this season has been a little bit of a struggle. It's not been easy. I really appreciate it. And without you guys, I'm sure we wouldn't be able to have done this, so thank you. Second off, I want to kind of piggyback off what Derek said about volunteers. Without the volunteers, the JV team doesn't get a lot of stuff done because we don't have a field at that point. So if you, at any point, did anything to help, volunteering, anything like that, thank you guys so much. You guys are part of the reason why the JV team has a place to play. But our JV season, it went pretty well. I think we finished 500, 5, and 2. I'll be honest, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I probably would have said that was maybe a little bit of a disappointment, but I'm proud of the way the guys worked this year. We had a couple games where we probably could have pulled something out, but that's just how the soccer gods work sometimes. We had a couple games where we probably shouldn't have done as well as we did, and we pulled out a tie or a win. So I'm proud of the boys for doing that. I know that they're going to continue to work hard, and like I always say each year, my goal is to eventually not see them anymore on my side of the practice field. And we had a lot of kids do that this year that we saw last year. We also had a lot of kids that we started off with that I didn't get to see at the end of the year, and that's always a good thing. So congratulations to all those kids. But I'm going to say a couple words about some of the players, and then we'll kind of move on from there. First player, though, I'll be honest, if this young man was fully healthy throughout the year, there's probably a good chance he was with us in Beckley. Just unfortunate that he had some health issues. He had a rough start to the season, but he really finished the year strong, scored 3 goals in his last 2 games, I believe. And I think the future is very bright for him. That's Caleb Conley.
Come get your certificate.
Graduated. Hey, he was first.
We have hand sanitizer, so we're done.
The next young gentleman actually joined our team a little bit late. He was a surprise addition. Someone who actually stepped in very well and kind of carved out a nice little role for himself. Did a great job for us at the striker position when I needed to get a couple other kids a break. And he's someone that really has a high IQ of the game, and as he continues to grow, maybe get a little bit faster, and as he matures in his years in high school, he's going to be a great player, and that's Marcus Albano. And he is not here tonight. So we're going to move on to this next one. He's been a starter on the JV team for 2 years. He's one of the guys that I can kind of look to, and I know he'll be a good defensive presence. He's got a lot of speed. Someone that I know if he makes a mistake out there, he can kind of recover himself, get in the right position, and he makes good decisions on the field. He's someone that I know with constant improvement, and hopefully a lot of work over the offseason is going to help us a lot, and that's Chris Powers. This next young gentleman, I'll be honest, he had an up and down season. He came into the year with a lot of ambitions, and I know the year didn't turn out quite the way he probably wanted it to. But I know that he's a hardworking young man. He's going to put in the work over the offseason, and he's going to continue to grow and get better and challenge the people at his position for playing time. And it's something that I absolutely believe is possible for him, and that's Trevin Price. This next one I'm going to talk a little bit more about just because of the surprise that he was. At the beginning of the year, I had him playing defense, and I liked where he was at in the rotation. I knew he was going to challenge for some minutes. I knew he had a possibility of starting. I knew that he was going to go out there, work hard. The time he was going to be in there, he was going to give it his all. He was going to get a break. He'd go back in, give it his all again. About a week before the season started, I got a text message from Darren and said, so we put Ryan at striker, and I think he's a better striker than he is a defender. I said, okay, that sounds good with me. In his first game as a striker, he scored 3 goals. Darren will continue to tell you that that is all him. Yeah, Jim too, they both decided it. I think it was a great decision. On the year, I think Ryan finished with 5 goals. We all kind of joke that Reesville is Ryan's house because that's where he does all his damage. He ended up being a tremendous player at the striker position. He ended up starting this year most of the games. And he's somebody that I absolutely look forward to having back next year and really competing for a lot of minutes. Ryan Morris. This next young man is also somebody who I didn't get to see a whole lot of towards the end of the year. Us as a coaching staff were trying to fill out our 22, and we knew that we needed a little bit more help on the defensive end. And this is somebody who came along and got hot right at the beginning of the year. His first couple games were pretty good, and then he really got going after our Bridgeport game. Played well at the center back position after I moved Gage up, and he really filled in that spot nicely. He ended up helping the varsity out a little bit, did a great job, and that's Brady McMullen. The next young man we have to talk about is, he was a little bit of a surprise coming back. At first, I didn't think he was going to be joining the team again. He's somebody that finished last year very strong, and I thought we could really carve out a nice role for him this year. I was a little disappointed to hear he wasn't coming back. I think it was before the season actually started that we got the message that he'd be returning. He did a great job for us at the outside mid position, at the striker position. Gave us a lot of solid minutes, continued to work hard, continued to get better, continued to hone his craft. And he's someone that I think if he sticks with the soccer program, he can do a lot of work for us in the next 2 years. That's Tadeo Huggins. Next young man that I want to talk about, he's not here tonight. He started his 2020 off a little rough. I don't really hold that against anybody this year due to the circumstances. He's somebody that I thought was going to compete for a varsity spot. He's somebody that I thought could really help us on the JV defensively. Because of his slow start, unfortunately, we didn't get to see a whole lot of him. He, towards the end of the year, really turned it on. He competed for a spot. He did a great job defensively, and he's someone that I definitely is going to figure into our future in the next 2 years. That's Tyson Phelps. This next guy, he did a lot of work over this year. He's one of the most vocal guys on our JV team. He was constantly in my ear asking what he could get better at, what he could improve with, and I saw that improvement go throughout the year. There was a point in time where he asked me what he could do, and I was pretty honest with him. I told him, I said, you've got these things that need to get better, and I saw those things get better over the next couple games, and he finished our season very strong. He's somebody that I think is going to definitely help our varsity program next year, and hopefully I don't see a whole lot of him on the practice side of things, and he's somebody that I think is definitely going to be a help to the varsity team. That's Logan Decker. This last one that I want to talk about, he was also someone who joined the team a little late. Darren likes to joke with the coaching staff that this kid was walking around the track, decided he wanted to play soccer, and walked away with a state championship ring. He ended up being a terrific goalkeeper. He's very loud. Although his skill set may be a little rough from not playing the position for a couple years, he has a lot of upside, and he does a lot of things well. I'm glad he joined the team. He was a great addition for the boys. He seemed to fit in very well, and I think he's going to be tremendous next year as well. That's Aaron Condon. I'm very proud of what the JV team did this year. This is probably one of our better years, honestly. I wish we could have finished the season above 500, but there was a couple things that just didn't go our way. We had some injuries, some people moved up, that stuff happens. But I do want to say that I am very, very proud of all the boys that I saw this year, and they did a great job, and they deserve to be commended for it. I'm going to turn it back over to Darren, and we'll talk about some other kids.
Thanks, Matt. One thing, before we move on to the varsity, this program, we say we have 2 squads on 1 team. And this year, more than any other year, I think we have shown that you can grow over the season from where you're a starter or a key contributor on the JV team to where you could be a starter and a key contributor on the varsity team. I'll use Gage Carlson as an example. Coming into the season, we felt he was going to be a leader on the JV team and support the varsity. It only took about 3 weeks. He took off, played aggressive, worked his tail off. We had a hole that showed up on our varsity team, and he filled it. He filled it so well that we, as a coaching staff, said we have to continue to start him, which he was happy about, but not happy because I took one of his key center backs. And I think that's part of the reason, if we started with the JV team that we had at the beginning of the season, we would have had a winning season and done very, very well. But the fact that we kept pulling players away because they were doing so well to help the varsity, they were sometimes, short-staffed, and sometimes, they had to figure out, okay, we had this plan going on, we had to adjust. So that's why I believe we are so successful, because we grow players and give them the opportunity to succeed and get playing time on the junior varsity level with the goal, and you can see it with their teammates, the opportunity to move and play on the varsity side. So I think these two have done a tremendous job this year. I'd like these young men to stand up and just get recognized. They did a tremendous job. All right. Varsity had an okay season. Finished at 19-3 on the season. 9-0 in the Big Ten champions, county champions, regional champions, sectional champions, and obviously state champions. I'm going to be honest. Coming into this year, talked to a bunch of coaches, read a bunch of books on how to repeat. Because he pointed out very early after we won last year, not only have we never won a back-to-back, we only won it once, and then we failed to do that in 2016. But Fairmont Senior's never gone back to the state tournament 2 consecutive years for the boys' side. Part of that is because we play in a very, very tough section, tough region. But the other piece is, you know, we always don't have that drive because we get kind of satisfied with what we accomplished the year before. I knew very early in the season, before even June started, AD Nicola called me and said, so, it sounds like you're going to repeat. And I said, where did you get that from? I mean, yeah, that's our goal, but you know, you sound like it's pretty emphatic. Well, I was at the stadium the other day and I saw Bobby Towns and he came up to me and we were talking and he said, yeah, we're winning back-to-back championships this year, no problem. But it's because of players like that and our captains and our other leaders. They had that silent confidence. It wasn't cockiness. It's perceived around the state as cockiness. But I'm here to tell you, and these other 3 gentlemen will tell you, it's confidence. The belief in themselves, the beliefs in each other, that they will do whatever it takes, and they don't care who gets the credit to get the victory in the fight for each other to get the win. And I think that's rare on a lot of teams. Some teams break apart within. We've had some of those teams over the year because it's I before we. That is not the case with any of these 30 young men. They all want to get better. They all want to do well. But at the end of the day, they want to succeed as a team and a family. And if you've read any of the articles over the last couple of days, or you've heard any of the quotes, not just from me, but from them in the papers, they all will tell you that. They believe it. It started last year, and it's grown even more this year. These young men have done a tremendous job. It makes our job very easy. They came into the season, the captains were pretty easy to pick this year, I'll be honest with you. We had 2 returning. The other 2, which I'll talk more about here in a little bit, led the team from the very beginning. But I feel we had like 12 leaders on this team. They led in different ways as we went through the season, from sophomore to senior. Very impressed and pleased with this group from the aspects of they know how I feel. I hate this thing. I would love to take it off. If I do, I get in trouble by certain people. So they bought in from day one. Even though they all don't, most of them don't like it wearing them either, I never once had to say a word. And that made our job even easier in 2020. Because as soon as they showed up, they knew that was the rule that was put on us by Marion County. You had to wear a mask. And I think it's important to call that out because we never had an issue with it. It was just a no. Everybody accepted it and moved forward, and that was behind us. So I think the entire 30, really need an appreciation about what we went through this year to show how we were resilient and we just in the face of many obstacles, not just being a defending state champ, but that 2020 put on them for us to have as much success as we did. So, gentlemen, all right, so yesterday was pretty exciting. We broadcasters asked me after the game, they said, so what did you think? And I said, I thought 2019 state championship, when we won it, and then the way we won it. And I know I started off last year's banquet by playing that video of Bubby scoring the game winner. I thought, well, it ain't gonna get any better than that. I mean, my first year as head coach, we won a state title and it's done death overtime. He hits the game winner and he runs around, rips his jersey off, and everybody's celebrating. I was like, it's not gonna get any better than that. No, they fooled us because they said, well, what we'll do is, as Brian said yesterday, we'll be nice and we'll give them a 2-goal lead, make the game interesting. And from that point forward, they dominated. They showed how resilient they were because I'll tell you right now, I believe any other team would have folded. They never wavered, they never panicked. Even the announcers on the game yesterday, because I watched it 3 times already, said they didn't yell at each other. No, they got together as a group and said, let's get this done. Will came off the field when I was giving him a break in the first half, and he came off and he was kind of upset and apologizing, and I said, buddy, don't worry about it. We're going to win this game. We just got to get one. Nate plays a great ball. Bubby heads it home, even though he got lambasted by the goalie. And that was all we needed. From that point forward, it was over. I knew, I was confident, these guys were going to the state championship because they refused to let each other down. Ashton came off the field and was furious because I asked him to go be in the box because I overloaded it on the corner kick. And he felt responsible. I said, dude, it wasn't your fault. Bad hop, it's all right. We're going to win. We're going to move forward. That's the thing. And some of the media were saying, why was he so upset? I said, because he let his team down. That's the kind of love this group has for each other. And that's the reason we were so successful. So I'm going to walk through the players. If you would, hold your applause, because I'm going to have them line up by group, and then we can acknowledge them all at the end. So we had a very nice freshman class that came in this year. Matt touched upon 2 of them. The other 4 are pretty consistent, and we felt as a program and the coaching staff that they could help out and support. So, with our program, you have varsity JV, and we have that group in the middle we call splitters, which means they play on the JV team, but they dress for the varsity, and we try to get them varsity minutes for experience. So the first one I'm going to touch upon is a young man who, started off real well right out of practice. We thought coming in he could be a major contributor on the varsity and support and get major JV minutes and varsity minutes. He hit a little hiccup in the middle of the season because a player decided to flip him on his head at Morgantown. And, he had to get back from his concussion, but he came back and he supported us and he worked well. We expect huge things out of him next year because our entire defense is depleted. And that's Robert Neskins. All right, the next gentleman, he's one of the ones that Matt was constantly arguing with me back and forth because I was going to rob him from the JV team because we needed depth on the defensive side. Works very, very well. We have a tradition here on the soccer program that every couple of years we have a Cox brother that comes through the ranks. And unfortunately, unless there's some things that I don't know about, he's the last one in that line. Good thing is we're down for 3 more years. We expect big things out of him on the defensive side as well. He did a tremendous job on the JV. The minutes that he gets that he got in the varsity games, he did a good job. I was fortunate enough to coach him at the U6 level, so I knew he had talent. And as he gets more comfortable with the high school game, I truly anticipate he's going to be a major contributor for the varsity next year. That's Samuel Cox. This young man has a ton of talent. He has a soccer IQ that's well above his years. Probably gets that from his father, because his father's not very knowledgeable about the game. He works very hard on himself, continuously wants to get better. The biggest thing for him is we have to get a stretcher to make sure we get him taller. But he did a very good job on the JV team, gave us significant minutes. A lot of the upperclassmen took him under their wing, helped him with his game. He's immensely funny if you ever get him in a hotel room with a bunch of his buddies around on a Friday night. But we really, I'm not going to say anything, Caleb, we'll let it go. But we really look forward to him coming back next year and being a major contributor on the varsity, and that's Caleb Young. All right, this last young man in this group, I've seen him grow up for years because he is a very, very talented swimmer, and my son swam with him for a couple of years. So I knew he was very athletic. I also knew he had a passion for soccer. I never got to see him play soccer until last year when we went and looked at the middle school team. But all I kept hearing about was how fast he was. And after the first day of practice, I knew what it was all about because he's immensely fast. He did a great job in yesterday's game. I told him before the game, I said, Grant, you may only get 5 minutes, but as hot as it is today, I'm going to have to spell Ashton and Braylon, and I'm going to need you to go up there and need you to cause some chaos, work the ball if you get a chance, and if you get a breakaway, hit it lower, 90. And just take a breath, because that's the only weakness we really see in his game right now is the finishing piece, because he gets really excited when he gets up there because he wants to score, he wants to support his team so bad. And he's already said he's committed to that in the offseason, and we anticipate big things for him next year on the varsity level. And that's great, brothers. All right, this next young man, he came on as the season went. Started out last year, last year he ended the season as a starter. We thought coming in this year he was going to be a pretty significant contributor. Started out at the very beginning similar to some of the other guys, and honestly I think across the board, COVID had a major swing on a lot of guys coming in. Just because they weren't able to be out and be as active as they normally would be. Didn't have a travel season like they normally could have. And so a couple of these guys I think just took a little bit longer to get going than normal. And I think he was definitely one of them because once he took off and we saw it in the middle of the season, he was a significant contributor moving on. He gave us a ton of quality minutes at States this last weekend. Finished the season with 3 goals and 2 assists at the varsity level. We see as a coaching staff, we talked about it yesterday, a significant role next year on the varsity level, and that's Braylon Weekly. Another young man similar to Braylon, played significant JV last year. In basketball, you have a 6th man, first guy off the bench, brings energy, works hard, and for us, he is our 12th man, no question. When I'm looking for time for anybody in a position, he's the first one I'm going to go to. He honestly, on any other school, would probably be a starter. He is right there with the guys at his position. I actually tried him and started him one game, and he actually, I think, started out a little, nervous and didn't play as well as he did when he came off the bench. He better overcome that because next year he will be a starter. He gave us significant minutes on the outside in our rotation, their outside mids. He provided significant minutes in the middle yesterday when Kalen went down with some calf and hamstring issues. He'll always be known for me for his East Fairmont shimmy. When he scored that goal, he had the kid on skates, took a through ball, did a little move, and he buried it lower 90, which I still say was one of the best goals I've seen all year. But Denzel Duvert is going to be a significant member of this team next year, and he'd get even more minutes, and we're looking forward to that. Denzel Duvert.
Hey, Mr. Fabulous!
He does have a new nickname on our team, well, from the coaching staff. We're calling him the Frenchman because the gentleman yesterday who announced the game kept calling him Duvert, and I said, yes, he is our foreign exchange student.
Well done, Danny.
Jimmy did a great job. This next young man, we anticipate major minutes from next year. He's a 2-year letterman. Junior midfielder, played multiple positions for us this year. Again, coming into the season, expected big things from him. COVID, I think, kind of, hindered his progress a little bit, but as the season went, he got better. As the season went, he made more progress. And I think, next year, the sky's the limit for him to support us and, give us quality minutes at the varsity level. And that's Elias Wilson. All right. This young man, and you asked Matt and I, coming into the season, I didn't know if he was coming back after last year, because he had a rough last year. But day one, he stepped in, and I knew he was going to be a starter. His attitude in the offseason, he dedicated himself, he worked his tail off, and I saw a complete 180-degree difference in his game. He scored 17 goals, 6 assists, multiple hat-trick games, including one in the state semifinal. He was my energy guy. He was what I like to consider my enforcer in hockey terms. Anytime I needed somebody to go out there and mix it up, legally, of course, he was there to do that. He always knew when we gave the speech in the playoffs, fellas, we're winning, we don't need a card, we don't need any issues, keep your head. He knew I was talking to him, but he always got it. He never went over that threshold. I'm happy for him because I knew how satisfied he was with last year as a sophomore year. And he is an example of when you dedicate yourself and you push yourself of how well you can have a great season. And we don't win a state championship without Ashton Cecil. So Ashton, great job. This young man was a first-year starter. He improved as the season went on, gained confidence, scored a huge goal against Herbert Hoover. He was what I call one of our unsung leaders on our team. He's got natural leadership capabilities. He's going to be a leader, not putting any pressure on him, but I see him as a future captain of this program. He is a very, very well-spoken and nice young man. And he is one that, reminds me a lot of Isaac Branch, where I could see him as a speaking captain on our varsity team. I'll tell you a little story about this young man because he really touched me. He came to me halfway, towards the end of the season, and I didn't start him for a game, and it really affected him. And I told him, there's a couple things I think you really need to work on that were right there for you. And the other young man at the position was just, got past you just a little bit. He took it personal, not personal that like I was calling him out, but personal he wanted to get better. The very next game, his game took the next big leap. And it was very easy to say he was cemented in that starting role. The fact, the way he reacted to that situation, came to me and talked to me about it, talked to us about it, showed a lot of maturity, and a lot of kids would have done. A lot of kids would have gotten frustrated and just said, I'm done, I don't want to be here anymore. And he didn't do that. I joke with him because I know he likes politics, and I said, he's going to be my next president of the United States. And that's Roe Jones. So, I kind of grouped a couple of these guys together, but I do want to touch upon, we have a very, very talented sophomore class. And that's the nice thing about us is we are at the point now in our program where we don't have to rebuild, we're just reloading. Our sophomore class with Braylon and Denzel and Rowe, there's just those three right there, and some of the young men that are on the JV team that are on the cusp of being varsity players, have really shown we can continue to do these types of things for the next couple of years. I say that because this next young man, it's been kind of an unwritten joke amongst the group because this is their belief. He decided to tell the paper this is their next belief. He was interviewed by Bradley Hartzell the other day and said, you know, and I'm not going to quote him, but pretty much, this is our expectation, this is our standard that we set for ourselves, and we're going to win 2 more state championships because we're going to win 4 in my high school career. It's not a joke, these guys believe it. And I think he takes it so much to heart because it's the way he trains, it's the way he works, it's the fact yesterday he should not have gone back in the game, but he looked at Sarah and I said, there's only 8 minutes left in our season, I'll go and I'll link if I have to help the team win. It's not easy being in the same position as Jonas Branch and Bubby Towns. They cast a huge shadow. Kalen Armstrong cast a huge shadow himself. That's why I believe we have the best center midfielders and best midfield in the state because of those young men. He had a tremendous year. He started last year as a freshman, started this year as a sophomore. He was the glue that holds our middle together. And it showed yesterday, because Jimmy even said, when Kalen went down with his calf injury, the middle we started losing control a little bit in the middle of the field. And that's why, you know, he went over, he worked out with Sarah, we got him back in the game, and things started to stabilize a little bit. He's going to be our field general next year. He is going to be the engine in the middle of our team that'll get us to go. And he had only 4 goals and 9 assists, but the things that he did off the ball that don't appear on the stat sheet are the reason that we won this thing yesterday. He was just recently named Region 1 second team for the state. He's a 2-year letterman. He's going to be one of our leaders next year, and that's Kalen Armstrong. This next young guy rounds out the sophomore class. He's the best player in the state according to the coach from Kaiser. He told us that, told Jimmy that. He was that day because he abused Kaiser terribly. But he abused Kaiser like he did everybody else on the outside of the field. There wasn't anybody that could stop him on the outside of the position. These guys had to set me straight because I truly believed if I put him up top next to Bubby, we'd have the best 1-2 combo in the state. And that's what I tried to beat in his head from the June practices. He came to me and said, Coach, I want to play outside wing. I play better out there. The team plays better out there. And he was right. And honestly, that's the reason I think we were so dominant, because we worked that left side the entire game, and no one ever could figure out how to stop him. He had a huge season for us. Topped all of last year's totals as a freshman. He had 19 goals, 12 assists. He has a career of 35 goals, 26 assists, 96 points. He was second team All Big Ten this year. He was first team All Region. And as of today, he's a second team All Stater, Nate Fowler. And just to his credit, he was the one last year, after we won our first state title, he goes, 3 more, Coach. We're winning 4 in 4 years. I told him I was all right with that, so. This young man was our first year in net. He had showed flashes over last year of having the capability to being a top goaltender for us. He had to come in a couple times last year when Angelo got hurt, made some critical saves. Was very good at the PKs last year, but being a part-time spot guy and being the man in the net when you have the pressure on you to win a state title again is a big burden to cover. We talked to him all year about being more vocal, being more physical, owning the box, and as the year went, he did that. I think he showed it very well when we were at States this last weekend. Made some very critical saves against Herbert Hoover. Made a couple key ones yesterday. He had a key save that I think really was a turning point for us when we were at Wheeling Central. We had a PK that was only because, and I'll touch upon that here in a second, something a key player did for us to help us at a critical time in the game. And because of that, he saved the penalty kick, which really allowed us to go on our 3 goals in a couple minute run and beat Wheeling Central at their place. With all the defensemen that we're losing this year, we're going to really rely on him in the net to be that senior leader in the back to help the growth of our defenders. He is a 2-year letterman, and that is Eli Day.
Yeah.
This next guy has been really special to me. We have just a close bond. He's a key defensive player for us, part of our defensive rotation. Similar to Rowe, we had some things happen this year where Isaac went down, Gage came on, and we had Kale go down, and then Kale came back with a shoulder. Unato's playing good, and we had to figure out, I had 5 starters, but I only had 4 positions. So I went and talked to him, and I told him, I said, listen, we're going to make a rotation. We're going to, give everybody equal time, but we're just going to kind of rotate so everybody stays fresh, so everybody works. And honestly, I think our play and our defense played better once that occurred. Early in the season, we had some holes. We were giving up goals, and I told Isaac this last evening. Once playoffs started, we only gave up 1 run-of-play goal the whole time when these 4 or 5 guys were in the game. And I thought that's a huge accomplishment by those guys. He took it so well because he knew he put team before himself. He knew he was going to get his time because I gave him my word he would get his time, and he averaged through the playoffs about 60 to 65 minutes. And he has, like I said, been a 2-year starter. He's a starter in my mind because we have 5 starters in the back. He's going to be a key leader for us next year. And the thing I love about Carson the most is he wears his emotions right here. He's not afraid like me to get upset and cry at the drop of a hat if things are really emotional. He's not afraid to tell you he loves you and give you a hug and say, I'm here for you. And that's what makes him so special because he will do whatever it takes for the team and put the team first over his own needs. That's why he's going to be one of our senior leaders next year and be our only returning defenseman. Carson Lindell.
Yeah, Carson.
This next young man's not here tonight. He took a year off, came back to us. He actually let us know last year when we went to the state tournament, they gave us gift bags, and I got a note in my bag that said, "We're coming back next year, Coach. Can't wait to help the team hopefully win another state title." He had an up and down year, constantly trying to get better, constantly trying to cram as much knowledge as he could and practice time as he could to help support the team and move forward. Did a good job on the JV team, helped support the varsity team, and he'll be missed. It is Kurt Drennan.
Yes, sir.
Before I get into these last, because this starts our our senior and captain portion, I'm going to let Jimmy and the other coaches talk about the team as a whole, and we'll finish with these last 6 young men. So,
go ahead. I just want to say that it's been a great year. with this team. And I enjoy being around the boys still, and I've been here a long time. And I do enjoy this group here. You guys are just a special group of guys right now. And as my coaching career kind of winds down, I really appreciate these guys letting me be part of this team. Excuse me. Get me to another state tournament. Get me another state championship. And I'm looking forward to hopefully maybe being around a little bit longer. I'm not sure, but I really do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that's been around and supported me all these years. And I've been with a lot of great people, great individuals, a lot of great guys that I've seen come through the program, made a lot of good friends, and I just want to say thanks. I really
So this team is really special to me. This is the first senior class that I've seen all the way through since I started coaching. It's not just that I have two brothers on the team, but I coached a lot of these kids coming up through JV. I also coached a couple of them coming up through the rec league. Isaac Yaneda is one of those kids. Jonas and Isaac, obviously. There's a couple others in there that I coached along the way as well. It means a lot to me that we could finish the year the way we did, that we were successful, and that I had a hand in that. It makes me feel good seeing how they turned out, not just on the field, but off the field as well. I'm very proud of all of the boys, not just on the JV team, but on the varsity team as well. A lot of them did things that I never thought was capable, and I'm very proud of them, and they absolutely deserve to be commended for it.
I'm going to ask for forgiveness because this group's special. These seniors are special. These captains are special. We only had 4 captains, but we had great senior leadership. Gage, I talked about his story this year. I can't reiterate it enough to you young guys. If you're looking for how you want to track and get over here and get on this team, just look at what he's done. He's busted his rear end. I'm not saying anybody doesn't, but he's worked hard. He's dedicated his game. He's dedicated his time. He's taken constructive criticism because he'll tell you, we have not been easy on him. He's asked us, what do I need to do to play? And he's taken that to heart. He's worked and put in the time. And you don't win the state championship sometimes without certain players, but Gage, we threw him in the hot seat. In the very first game he got to start in varsity did not go well at Scott. We had some maneuvering we had to do, but the nice thing about that game that showed what we need to do is Gage was a center back. He wasn't an outside back. And as soon as we moved him in the middle next to Isaac, our defense changed. We were able to exploit teams on the outside because we had the dependability that Gage would drop and be there. I was able to get Kale outside because that's where Kale wanted to live. He wanted to go forward. He wanted to get more involved and not just sit back. That's what he did the last 2 years, and that's what he really thrived on. So Gage gave Kale and Isaac the ability to do what they like to do, which is get forward and move and get in our offense. He never complained through all 4 years in this program. He really, epitomizes what a 4-year letterman and 4-year participant of this team is, because he always put team before self. I'm proud of him and the fact that he stuck with the program when he could have said, you know what, I'm not getting the time that I need. And he got to see the fruits of his labor in getting a state championship as a senior. So Gage, I'm appreciative of the time that you've given this program. We're going to sorely miss you. And we thank you for all your team you play here. Gage Carlson.
Well done, Gage. Hey.
I joked with Matthew and Caleb and Jimmy Friday night and Saturday morning because I'm probably more harder on this guy than a lot of other players because he is a really, really good defender. I mean, we've had college coaches come to us and tell us how good a defender he is. And I really want him to be the best he can possibly be. He's worked very hard this year. He came in the very first day and said, Coach, you can just lock down the left side because that's my position. Left side, outside back, that's mine. I'm taking it, I'm gonna own it, don't have to worry about it. And he did, the whole year. He frustrates me a little bit because some coaches like him to get up as much as possible and go up and play. And sometimes when he does that, we don't always have coverage on the backside. But 9 times out of 10, the runs he makes are well needed and well worth it. He looked like he was shot out of a cannon against Herbert Hoover on Friday night. As you see this long black flocks of hair back here and him running down the field. Isaac is the consummate professional on our team. He always gives good feedback. His mind is very analytical. He can tell you where we need to do, where the ball needs to go. And he is a very good lockdown defender. He doesn't panic, which is key in his line of work because usually he's out there on the island with a very good forward. And yesterday, I watched the game, like I said, a couple times. He didn't get beat once. The guy might have got around him, a toe poke here or a little, cut back here, and he had the ball back, and he got it really quickly to either Isaac or the midfielders, and the ball went back the other way. We have huge holes to fill in the back end with Gage leaving and with Isaac leaving, and you're sorely going to be missed, Isaac. You're a four-year player that's come through the program, and we're really going to miss you next year. Isaac Grenada.
Yeah.
So we have 4 captains on this team. They're all special in their own unique ways. They fill a hole. Some lead with their play, some lead with their voice, some lead with their actions, and some just lead. This one is special because him and I have not always had the smoothest of relationships. It's kind of a roller coaster at times. He and I have had many conversations over his tenure here. They actually started when he was in 7th grade because he would show up at our practices and say, I'll be here in 2 years, get ready. He was on the all-hair team at that point because, he had long hair like some of the other players. And then he showed up his freshman year and all his hair was gone and I didn't realize what had happened. But he's been a 3-year starter for us. He's unselfish. He works hard. He makes the critical plays when you need them. Last year, Seth goes down, and it was very easy for us to say we need to slide him inside and play next to Isaac. And without a beat, our defense played fine and worked well, and we ended up winning the title that year. This year, he had some injuries off and on, but we were at Wheeling Central, and it's 3-3. They're down in our end. They're getting ready to get a goal. They shoot it. Eli makes a brilliant save, and the goal's wide open. This kid's standing right there ready just to kick it in the goal. He just dives in front of the net did only what a normal human being would do in trying to protect himself. Ball hits his hands, he gets a right guard. Ball doesn't go in the net. But like I said, Eli ended up making that save. If that ball goes in the net, it's 4-3. Who knows how the game turns out? That's the type of unselfishness that he made. And I'm telling him he's a player of the game just because he made that play. Like I said, we have a rocky relationship at times because he's so passionate on the field that sometimes he lets his emotions take over. And there's nothing wrong with that because he loves this team so much. This team means so much to him. He means immensely the same amount to me. And he's going to be sorely missed. He is a 3-year letterman. He was named second team All Big Ten. Kel Bader. This young man going to come into the season with bigger aspirations because he ended them with the highest of aspirations. And, I mean, he became a legend last year. Everywhere we went, it was like won the state championship, golden goal scorer. And when I was talking to Isaac and Jones before the season, I said, we got those captain spots. I said, a very natural one for me is Bubby because his work ethic is second to none. He works when nobody else is looking. He doesn't, even though he got all those accolades, you would never know that it didn't mean anything to him. He was all about the team. He would go get his goals and go get his stats, but he cared about the team. He had such a great and special bond with the captains that's the reason I knew yesterday there wasn't a chance we were losing. He had 44 goals this year. He could have had 60, but I pulled him out early. If I wouldn't have let him score, he would have done it. But 44 goals, I mean, that's second in Fairmont Senior School history. 23 assists. Career 97 goals, 38 assists, 232 points as a 3-year player. Oh, by the way, second in the nation in points this year. Now that could change. Second in the nation when I looked before we went to states. First team, All-State. Region 1 first team. First team, All Big Ten. And Big Ten Player of the Year, Bubby Towns. I have a special bond with these two. It started 3 years ago. We lost the penalty kicks to Eastside. We were so mad because we knew we should have been down the state tournament. And I was talking to them, I was like, I said, hey, state's here tomorrow. Your mom lets you get out of school. You want to get out and watch so we can see what we need to do to get down there next year. Yeah, sure. We went, we watched the game. We were very, very mad because he ended up being Catholic. And we said, well, that could be us. We could be in the state finals. We knew they were playing Winfield. We knew that Winfield was good, but we didn't play a very good game against them that year. And we probably could have had 3 of these in a row. But on the way home, we talked. And we talked about the things we need to do as a team so we can get to this level. And that just started a friendship for the last 2.5 years that we text every other day, talk about things we need to do with the team, and they're both, when they talk about them, they usually say the Branch twins, but they are so different, and only probably their mom, their dad, their brothers and sisters really know. They are so different. But I can see it all the time. Isaac is our heart and soul. What he does on the field is not on a stat sheet. Been a 3-year captain, first time in school history. 10 goals this year, 8 assists. 4-year starter. Career of 35 goals and 30 assists from a defensive position. 100 points in his high school career. First team all state. Region 1 first team. First team all Big Ten. 4-year letterman out of Branch. What can I say about this guy? He takes over the game when you need him to, and he is our engine. I've made no bones about it that when I've talked to people this year, I've told them, we are blessed because we have the best forward, the best midfielder, and the best defender in the state. Down there. It's not being egotistical, it's saying facts. It's not even close. They showed it this weekend. He is the engine that makes our team go. He was overlooked last year. I mean, obviously, because he got a lot of bad voting in All-State last year. He was up for Player of the Year last year, and it was tragic because he didn't get the notoriety he deserved last year. He had 30 goals this year, 32 assists, led the nation in assists, according to Max Preps. 4-year starter, 2-year captain. He has a career of 78 goals, 79 assists, 235 points in his career, which is only second to Isaac Swagger, who was a state player of the year and plays for WVU. First team All-State, first team All-Big Ten, Region 1 Player of the Year, and is up for Player of the Year this year, Jonas Branch. I want you other guys to stand up too. Stand over here, please. Over here. This is not easy. And it's not honestly because of us. These guys put the work in every single day. These guys push themselves every single day. And it's because of them, these 30 young men and a couple that aren't here, the reason we won this again. My only challenge is we're losing significant contribution to this team. You younger guys need to take a step forward, need to take a responsibility, because the standards set by last year and this year of where we want to be. Our goal has always been this, like Jimmy said, we've always tried to get to the state tournament. We've been blessed of having significantly great players, but even better young men. And it's because of their great young men is the reason we're back-to-back state champions. Congratulations, guys. One last thing we'd like to do. Can I have the captains please come up here?
First, I'd like to say this was a special 4 years for me because when I came into high school, I didn't think it was going to be as fun as it was. And freshman year, I had a blast. And I went to Darren after my freshman year and said that I wanted to take over the team because I didn't want that to happen again on what happened freshman year. And unfortunately, it happened sophomore year again, and we lost. But with all the players that gathered around me and all of us working together, we were able to pull out 2 state champions. And I would like to present this to Mr. Green on the 2020-2000 state champion.
Welcome.
You guys want to say anything? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, coaches.